Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for What's Your Why Wednesday. I'm Laura Brandeo, and today I am joined by the wonderful Kim Clancy, the broker owner of Mindful Mortgage Group in Colorado. Kim, thank you so much for joining us. And see, most of us, came into the mortgage industry by accident, but we stayed in the industry because it ties to our personal and professional why. So Kim, please share with us, what's your why?
Hi, Laura. Thank you for having me. So that's a great question. So my why is actually very layered. I went to college and got a degree in special ed, and then I had a master's degree in clinical social work and psychology. So, obviously kind of like the mind and, helping and those kinds of things. And what happened was I moved to California, and quite frankly, I stumbled upon the mortgage business because I could not afford to live in California on a social worker's income. And my mom was in the mortgage business, and so I got in as an assistant. And, I really love talking to people. And what I found was, as crazy as this sounds, if you're talking to a person on a psychology level or a social work level or a mortgage level, it's really the same, right? It's being able to listen to what they're saying and interpret, what they're telling you they need or what's wrong or, things like that, interpret it and create something that is going to be helpful to them. And so it really is crazy that the psychology that I studied, thinking, it's going to be somebody on the couch laying there telling me their problems. The psychology that I studied really was what kept me in the mortgage business, because I found that I needed that experience on a daily basis. I needed to read people and listen and pick up on the cues that they were telling me. And so, like I said, it's kind of, who would think that having those type of degrees would have been helpful in a sales job and in such, but it really is. I mean, doing a mortgage loan is stressful for people, and it brings up a bunch of things for them. And so being able to be there and walk people through that process and handhold them accordingly, that really has been why I stayed in. And then eventually it was like I had a son, and it's great flexibility. So, all of that. And now it's just like I've created a company, and, now my why does look different. Now my why is to teach people and coach people and inspire people.
I love that. And think about that, right, Kim? Think about, number one, you started with special education. So you went from the education side, right? Then from the education side, you layered it with the psychology and the thought process and the great skill of listening. Right. Yeah. And all of those things, from the listening to the education to understanding emotion and how to guide people through a stressful, process, which the mortgage industry, it is. I mean, there's so many emotions, right? You have this emotion of being excited. Then you have this emotion of fear. Then you have this emotion of, I'm not sure, or I have anxiety because of the unknown. So there's so many emotions that are happening, and you having that foundational education really does set you apart and give you the ability to truly guide these families through. So, wow, that is a fascinating story. And to be quite honest, if you really think about it, Kim, I almost think when someone's coming into the mortgage industry, it's almost like they need to take courses on that, if you think, right?
I agree, because what you learn in something like psychology is, interpreting what people say, right? Because what people say and what they mean are typically different, right? Or how they feel and what they say. And so psychology is analyzing words for a solution. And quite frankly, that's what we do. That's what the best loan officers do. The best loan officers interpret what people are saying and find the best solution for that person. Not every vanilla, loan is the same. Not every person is the same. You can't talk to people exactly the same way. And, so it really ended up being my biggest asset when I came in.
Yes. And, that makes me think of, that's the reason why technology cannot do the role, because regardless of the highest level of artificial intelligence, it is a human process, and all of that factors into it. Technology can assist us, but it cannot take over that role. So you are 100% correct. Love it. Okay. So Kim, this is my most favorite part. I love to hear, give me a story, that family or that individual, of when you realized the monumental impact that you have with helping borrowers be able to go through the mortgage process. Give me that touching story.
So it's touching, and it's hard to even still, gosh, it was so long ago, but it's still even hard to talk about because it was a sad outcome, and we knew it was going to be a sad outcome, but I knew that I was helping people. And so I had a veteran, and he was dying, and he had stage 4 cancer, and he was dying. And he contacted me and said, we need to sell our house, and I need to get my wife before I die into something that she'll be able to manage, and that she will get enough money that she will not have to worry about a mortgage, meaning that when he passes, that, the income that she's going to get from him would cover it, because as it stood, the current house was the house that they raised their kids in, and it was big, and so I knew that person was putting their family, his wife, in a better situation, because death was really there for him. And, we ended up, I worked so hard. I got it done as quickly as I could because I was scared. And he ended up passing away within weeks of us closing. But this was maybe 9 years ago, I still get a Christmas card every year from the wife, because I knew what we were doing, and they needed somebody that wasn't worried about the loan stuff, was just worried about putting them in a situation where he could go and know that she was taken care of.
Wow.
And so that's my story. That was, I get choked up still. It was 8-9 years ago, because it was wow, I really helped somebody. That was really helping someone move on and know that their people were safe.
Wow, that is, what a touching story. Yeah. And I enjoy hearing those stories, because every single originator has one of those, at least one of those. I'm sure you have many, but you have that one that really separates from all the rest. And that is what loan officers and originators and brokers do every single day. You make a difference. Sometimes it's a small difference, sometimes it's a huge difference, but it is a difference, and it's an impact that we are having on the rest of the world. So thank you for sharing that. Great job. All right, final question, Kim. So tell me, all right, so I'm curious, what do you want your impact to be on the world? Whether it's the mortgage industry, whether it's life itself, what do you want to be known for? What's your impact?
Well, I would like to be, I love this question. Mine, I have a couple of things.
Okay.
I have one with the type A person.
Oh, you can have a whole list. Go for it.
So for me, I think that I named my company Mindful Mortgage Group, and you and I have talked about this a lot. for a reason, you know, and because I believe that, you know, it's not just people aren't just transactions, right? And so when you are mindful of how you treat people in a transaction, then it looks different to the world, right? Or to your community or to the people at your company, whoever is watching you. That's how you can impact somebody, is just being mindful really of how you treat someone. And for me, that's what I would like to be known for, right? Is that I take that very seriously, and that I try to be positive for people. You know, I don't want to say like be a role model, because that's a different kind of pressure that, you know, I don't know, but I do try to live in a world where when I'm at the store, I don't know if the person next to me, this is true. I don't know if the person next to me knows me, because I'm all over the place, right? If you do marketing properly, you're all over the place. And so I don't know if they know me. So I try to live my life that if they did and I don't know, that they can still walk away because of the way I've interacted with people around me and say, like, she really is a positive person and treats people kindly and with compassion, you know? And so that's what I would like. I would like for people to remember me as that, you know, I am kind and treat people fairly.
I love that. And this is why you and I get along so well, because I say that all the time, that people are watching all the time, whether it's your children, whether it's your team members, whether it's the clients we serve, whether it's the stranger. People are always watching. And you just touched on something that's so important, that be that example of who you would want your children to be, or who you would want someone to be for you. Because when you are that person, it spreads. It does have an effect. It has a positive effect on other people. And you may not know, you may not realize, but it happens.
Yeah, I think you do, Laura. Like, think about it like this. Okay, you're in line at the grocery store. Okay, and this is, you can see this happen. You're in line in the grocery store, and you know, the checker outer is having a tough time for whatever reason, or she's going slow, or he's going fast, or whatever the case is. It doesn't matter. Now, if I turned around and acted like a jerk to the person, right? People behind me,
it spreads, right?
To the people, right? It is true. It is a proven fact. But if I sit there and I'm like, hey, are you okay? You know what I mean? How's your day going? And you kind of just do that. It is a lot harder for the person behind me to then come up and be nasty to that person. And so that is, I believe in that 100,000 that it, you know, you can change the world around you. You can.
I agree. 100% agree. And I also, you know, I love to listen to podcasts and videos and stuff in my morning routine. That's part of my morning routine. And this morning, I actually was listening to a podcast about this guy that is doing this longevity study. He actually raised, it was fascinating, Kim. So he raised $100 million on research of how to be able to get people to live to 150 to 200 years old. It was fascinating, right? Fascinating, right? But wait, here's the part that ties into what we're talking about. One of the biggest ways to live longer is by being mindful and kind. So when you practice mindfulness, like meditation, like taking that time for breathing, and when you are kind to others, it actually positively affects the inside of your body. And it's like taking a vitamin. So why not, you know, listen to what Kim is saying and think about this, that not only is it a nice thing to do and positively affecting the world, it's for your own longevity. And who doesn't want more time?
Well, and think about it, when you're like, the best thing that I do if I'm feeling sorry for myself or something, right? Or even stressed out or whatever it is, when I'm feeling yucky, I'm telling you, Laura, if I go to the store and I pick out a couple of cards for friends,
Me
and
too. I do that too.
it is the quickest way for you to get out of your own way.
As you're dropping it in the mailbox or you're putting it somewhere, you instantly feel better.
Instantly. Instant. So
I love it. I love it. Kudos, kudos, yay. All right, Kim, well, thank you for sharing your why. You and I could go on for days speaking about the value of doing these types of things. So thank you once again for sharing and continuing to be awesome.
thank you, friends. I love you.
Love you too.